Alright, so seeing as so many people have already made videos about this one movie and the next movie, I thought what I would do for just this video to make it a little bit more different is I would make it a response to video. What I mean by that is I will be responding to some of the complaints and praises that this movie has gotten. Very little of those praises though. And I thought I would do that by listing my disagreements with some of the complaints or praises and agreements with some of the complaints and praises. I gotta be honest though, I only have one disagreement that I really have ever had with this movie concerning people's problems with this movie. And that one disagreement is that everyone complains about the lizard in this movie, the fact that his plan doesn't make sense, and the fact that he, as a character, Dr. Connors, wasn't explored well, wasn't set up well, or whatever. He just was not a good villain. I will agree with that. He's not the best villain in all of the Spider-Man movies, but when it comes to his motivations and his plans for New York City and turning them all into lizards, I thought it was pretty well established as to why he would come to that conclusion. I'll explain why. The guy takes a serum that turns him into a lizard. Okay? That would fuck with your mind. I mean, even Pete later in the movie says, "You're not thinking straight," right?
Not thinking straight, Doc.
And then when Lizard Guy is talking to his camera, he says that he expresses his plans for the city and says that humanity is weak, frail, whatever.
I sought to create a stronger human being, but there's no such thing. Human beings are weak, pathetic, feeble-minded creatures.
And later in the movie, when he's cured of this lizard thing, he goes to save Peter from falling, like how many stories below Oscorp or whatever, falling to his death. He saves Peter from falling to his death after he's cured, right? So let's look at this. He takes a serum, that turns him into a monster, basically. Pete says to him, "You're not thinking straight," right? And then, I think before or after that, he expresses his plan to his little camera friend that he wants to turn everyone into lizards because he thinks that the human form is weak, all that stuff. That is lazy writing, I will say, but I thought they did a good enough job of setting up the fact that when he is Lizard Man, he is not mentally stable, which is why he would jump to a conclusion like that, saying that he wants to turn everyone into lizards. So I honestly don't think that him wanting to turn the whole city into lizards came out of nowhere, because they kind of were showing us, ever since he started becoming lizard, that he was losing his mind. I mean, go back and rewatch some of the cartoons, like Spectacular Spider-Man or even Ultimate Spider-Man. Dr. Connors, when he is lizard, has always struggled between his science mind and his animal mind, like his animal side, right? I thought this was a pretty common thing that Spider-Man fans would know. So I don't know, for me personally, it wasn't that surprising that he came up with such a stupid plan. Yes, it is stupid, but people have said that it came out of nowhere. To me, it didn't come out of nowhere. I thought they set that up in the movie. And it kind of makes sense if you're thinking about the lizard character, the villain. And that was my only disagreement. There are two things that I agree with. The first one being, I do think that Andrew Garfield is really shit as Peter Parker. When it comes to the Spider-Man stuff, I'll get into that a little later, but when it comes to just Peter Parker as a character on his own without being Spider-Man, I thought Tobey Maguire did a better job. I mean, if you've seen my previous reviews for these Spider-Man movies, then you'll know that I'm a big fan of those movies. So yeah, I thought Tobey Maguire did a better job as Peter Parker, and the best of them all being Tom Holland. But Andrew Garfield just doesn't, I don't know if it's the direction that he was given or his performance, but whatever it is, he just doesn't come across as Peter Parker.
And yes, the suit in this movie is so shit.
Alright, so moving on to the next thing and the last thing that I agree with concerning other people's opinions on this movie, that being Spider-Man in this movie, just Spider-Man, is off. He's weird. First of all, Peter's motivation to becoming Spider-Man is a little off. I mean, this is something I realized, okay? This is something I realized. When it comes to the first Tobey Maguire movie, he sort of chased after the guy that killed Uncle Ben, right, in the first movie, when he was driving Uncle Ben's car. And that, you could say, was very similar to how Pete becomes Spider-Man in this movie. But in that movie, he wasn't... I've dug a hole for myself. I can't get myself out. Okay, alright. So, with that Spider-Man, Tobey Maguire's Spider-Man, he wasn't actually going to kill the guy, okay? The guy accidentally, tripped and fell off, right? He in that movie, Peter was just chasing after one guy in the moment, right? In this movie, Spider-Man chases after multiple guys in the dead of night, and when he thinks he's found the guy, he threatens the guy. That's not Spider-Man. That's Batman. Stop making Spider-Man Batman. And speaking of that scene where he makes fun of the car thief, yeah, okay, I don't really care. Like, when he's making fun of him, when he threatens him, I don't like that part. But when he was making fun of him, that's Spider-Man. Spider-Man is Spider-Man. He makes fun of the criminals that he's trying to stop. My problem, as I said, is when he threatens him, but also when the cop shows up on the bike or whatever, and he's totally disrespecting the police officer. Now that, I know Spider-Man definitely does not do. I mean, Peter, when he's at Captain Stacy's home, having dinner, he argues with the guy. Peter Parker does not argue with freaking people in law enforcement. He doesn't do that. He has respect. He's polite. And you could say Peter Parker is at times too polite. He's timid, a little fragile. Or he just knows his place. He knows to show respect, right? This Spider-Man, this Peter Parker, is a punk who doesn't care about anything. Okay? Until this one scene that I actually liked, when I guess you could say he wakes up from the stupidity that he's going through and realizes that, he realizes what he's meant to do. And that scene is where he saves the kid trapped in the car on the bridge. This is one of my two favorite moments in the whole movie because when I was watching it, the music was not loud, it was quiet, and it was kind of heroic, and it just... this whole like shot or sequence or whatever just focused on him saving the kid, right? That was Spider-Man, okay? Another favorite moment that I kind of liked was when Flash has that heart-to-heart with Peter. It shows that Flash, while an asshole, is not completely heartless. So yeah, if I were to sum this movie up and all my thoughts on it, I would say that it's not a horrible movie, but it does get a lot of shit completely wrong with Spider-Man and Peter Parker. Like, they miss the mark on a lot of shit. And that can alienate your audience. That's why not many people like this movie. Anyway, that's my review for The Amazing Spider-Man. And truly, the worst Spider-Man film is coming up next, and I will review it. Or shit completely all over. I'm going to shit all over it. I'm going to have so much fun with that movie. Stick around for that review.